Hi guys, welcome to another edition of WonderAlicePodcast. So basically, I'm with my mentor, which he has been guiding me for like almost 3 years, and after even I've more than 3 years actually, and he is constantly giving me insights where I had done, and I'm very grateful to him. And finally, he's in my podcast. I'm very excited, and I'm gonna go and introduce him and ask him to introduce himself. Over to you, Ching.
Sure. Well, thank you for the kind words. Yeah, my name is Ching. Here in the U.S. Kartik and I worked at Barco, and he left about, was it last year, 2 years ago? Was it?
Yeah, yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
2 years ago. But yeah, he's worked together for about a little bit over 3 years, and definitely we have had lots of communications about work and also non-work related. So. Yeah, I'm here to support his YouTube and podcasting ambitions.
Thank
Wish
you
him
very
all the
much.
luck.
Basically, it's a new initiative I started.
Very good.
So like we are gonna start from a very light-hearted conversation. We use like apart from what we used to talk about anime a lot, and
Sure.
as I see anime as been like it's not. I don't know what is the perspective in US is. In India, it's still like categorized into cartoon, but
Mm,
anime is quite adult stuff. It's had this kind of raw emotions which you can't even see in films. If you think about Attack to the Titan or
mm,
Death Note, these are very psychological impacting anime.
mm. Right. I agree. I mean, to me, it's like in the US, it's like I think I know of a few friends that are into anime as well, and so it's definitely that doesn't have the same connotations. But yeah, I like anime for various reasons. I think mostly about anime is I like that the ones that I enjoy it has a lot of like for example if I pick like Naruto or My Hero Academia, it's
Yeah.
about yeah, a story about someone who you get to learn to grow up with the person, right? You get to learn start from the beginning. You learn about their motives, their what drives them, right? We're gonna talk about goals, right? And that's it. It's like they have a goal. They have the perseverance. They have grit, right? Which like okay, they get
They
beaten
never give
down,
up.
but then exactly they get beaten down, but they don't give up, right? And those are really good
Positive
qualities
emotion.
of yes, yes, it's emotional, right? And if you think about Death Note and things like that, it's got other aspects of
Yeah.
of mystery and things like that. So I think anime is not about if people think of it as cartoons, it's too bad because it's really just a creative outlet, right? In Japan, right? Where it's like it's about creativity, and where it's like okay, if you are a person, then you can't draw a fireball coming out of their hand, right? It's just you just it's animation, so you can be more creative and
Because
on
yeah,
things.
exactly. Because uh, you can display anything you want it to be.
Hmm.
You are uh, the imagination has no limits there. So you
Right.
are whatever you imagine can be placed there. So that's what I
Exactly.
thought like the film and all are very limiting in nature. So they have
Yes.
because they have a budget, and
Yes.
everything what they do is gonna cost more, right?
Yeah, animation also has a budget, I'm sure, but I think
Yeah,
yeah, so
they
yeah.
do. But still, it's gonna not increase. If you have
Mm,
30 minutes, the
yeah.
budget would be like, that 30 minutes only, right?
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
If you come with like, like, now I have to blow up a car, this
It's
is
much
not,
easier on anime.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is
that's
not
for
no
sure.
ad production, right?
Mm,
Uh,
definitely.
and for me also like anime has been when I discovered anime I was really into animation like 3D animation I was trying to learn it so
Mm,
and and that is when the Japanese anime caught it and when you can see the intricacies, na, like the shadows, these are all drawn if you think about it. The shadows, the lighting, and each character moving, and these are 2D. And somebody guys paints it, one
Yeah.
frame like frame after frame, and
Right.
and and, and that moment was so amazing, and it's just so amazing. And from that I never looked back. I'll
Sure.
watch a lot of anime.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Talking about something I missed it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was talking about in anime. In anime, they take the time to also not only talk about the heroes, the backstory of the heroes, but also the villains.
Yeah, exactly. I like that part a lot because they put in energy in the
Again,
character
part of
development.
storytelling is really
Yeah, yeah.
right, both on both sides, right? And I
Yeah,
think
they're
that
kind of
really,
correct.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think that makes you sometimes like, okay, sometimes if you're only making a short movie, you don't have time for that kind of character development, right?
yeah.
But then if you're if but yeah, to actually have character development for villains, I think is kind of
I think
interesting because then
maybe if we compare it to TV series, then it can happen like right. They have
true,
like
but
longer,
yeah, I have not seen that though. In even TV series, it's very rare. I can't think of anything on top of my head where they actually go and spend that time to, a villain is a
Yeah,
villain, right?
yeah, that's true. Like,
Yeah.
you don't think like Voldemort is, the circumstances made him do. He was
Uh,
like born evil.
yes, that's
You
right.
know,
That's right. That's right.
yeah, that is kind of because if you see in animes, villains, they have a philosophy, and the
Yes.
philosophy, and there's a friction of philosophy between the two, and like nobody is like entirely right, okay,
Sure.
but this friction of philosophies kind of like really amazing, and now how hero exerts his philosophies,
Yes.
so
Yes.
remember from the top of my head there was like a so the story context is like there's a guy who believes that he wants to be hero and he can save everything. Okay, and so what happens that this character is gonna develop and become someone who is gonna like because it is a very idealistic thing, right?
Hmm.
And you can't actually. So in idealism, what gonna happen to like save 5 people? You wanna kill two
Hmm.
people. To
Sure.
save 10 people, you're gonna kill 2 people. This what happened, right? There are always sacrifices. So
Sure.
so that character gonna grow up, and his entire existence becomes like a world balancing kind of entity. So he reaches kind of state like that. So he comes to the past and tries to kill his own self. So he
Oh
doesn't
wow.
become like him. So and
Wow.
now these philosophies kind of like meshing together, and like now this naive guy still with his own philosophy that no, I can still change the world. I can still save the world. I will have no sacrifices. And the future self is like
I
this is not
understand.
gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will
That's
see
right.
the same guy and
Well.
different philosophies and they are fighting.
Sure.
This kind of thing I've never seen in like TV series or something.
Sure. Sure.
This concept.
Sure. I think that those examples are plentiful in Naruto or even Dragon Ball
Yeah, true.
or Hero Academia. I mean, it's there, and and then when the eventually you don't know who to root for, when and they're fighting because it's like, oh, I feel bad. It's like, oh, and you understand that the villain needs to be defeated, but you kind of feel conflicted because it's like he became a villain because of his past, right? And you can say that sometimes for in real life as well. Every murderer or everyone who's done bad things have a backstory, right? And due to life circumstance, they have done A, B, C, right? And it's yeah, it's that way.
Okay. I have a funny question coming into my mind. So in
Mm,
like anime, there's a very recurrent theme where what happens is that the hero, exerts his philosophy onto the villain, and
no.
finally the villain turns into a hero. That often happens a lot, right?
Sure.
And what happened in real life? I've never seen a person change that lot. you know, you I've never seen that you come and exert a philosophy and now he turned over a new leaf. Even something is like, no, nobody's entirely evil, but if somebody is like, is kind of having an existence where he lies a lot, or he deceives you a lot, okay, and then you go to him and try to like change him, with good philosophy. He's not gonna change. This doesn't happen actually.
It depends. I think it depends. Like in your example, I can think of a case where um, the villain joins the hero to fight a bigger villain, right?
Yeah.
I can see that happening in real life, where you can say like, where sometimes you catch someone who's a who's working for someone else, right? And then you catch them, and then you kind of
Like kind
you
of
kind
deal
of
with
talk to
it.
them. Yeah, you talk to them. It's like, hey, how about this? How about that? And out of his own heart, he says, okay, fine, I'll snitch on this guy on his right. I think it
Absolutely,
can be done.
it can be
Yeah,
done. But
yeah.
I don't know if he in that state. I think he tries to save himself. I rather when I
Oh, I
see
see.
anime, he just turns over a new leaf. He
Yeah,
becomes a new existence.
sure.
Become turned over a new leaf. This I
Sure.
have seen a lot.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard, but I'm sure it's possible, right?
I have this like in India we have like stories like Valmiki and Buddha. So these people like they turned over a new leaf, entirely. But
Mm.
I've not seen in my regular life. I've never seen it.
I mean, I mean,
Some
with your mindset, then people who go to prison should never come out of prison,
but
right?
does prison help them? I don't think so. Like, if even a Jewy goes into the prison system, he's not gonna come back reformed. That's the truth.
Oh,
He's not.
you have a very negative mindset, Carl. I'm much more optimistic about humans than you are. We should. We,
Look, I mean, I don't say that the positivity should not be applied. I think, you
yeah.
go to prison. I think, you know, for example, I'm gonna give you an example. Like, so in school, what used to happen, they used to segregate the bad boys and the good boys, and they used to combine them. So it's
Mm,
not like segregating them for entirely bad boys and entirely good boys. What they
mm,
used to do is like they used to have a seating structure where like a good boy sit with the bad boy. So they're trying to create a balance in there. If you
mm,
know, so what if everybody is in the prison is like that? Okay,
mm.
and so who is gonna have that positive effect over whom?
I
That's
see.
my that's my
I
thought
agree.
process.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. I think if you go to a prison where it's really hardcore, uh, you know, and there's no kind of reform inside where they try to teach you something, and then it's difficult. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
And I'm gonna also tell you something more is that I there was a research, and they did what they tried to implement the prison system, and these
Mm-hmm.
were all students, and the one party was like the correctional officers and the other were the prisoners, and they were
Mm-hmm.
just role playing, but
Mm-hmm.
they had to shut down the research because it had a negative impact. The people who were role playing, they become the enforcer and they were like abusive to the prisoners. Then they had to shut down the research, that experiment. So
Wow.
this experiment is something like if this experiment can have the role playing experiment can have that effect. So think about the prison system. This is the real world.
But
So
I think that becomes again. I think we're going to talk about it next, but it's like goals, right? What is the purpose of a prison system, right?
like I was telling you a funny thing. There's a show called Adam Ruins Everything,
Yeah.
and he was trying to tell something in there. Okay, and what he was saying that basically, so they take these people and like they go on some business ventures, right? They like fix like the roads and or something. Man, can
Mm.
anything menial work? So they kind of loan them, and they're just making a bunch of money out of them. So they are basically unpaid laborers. you know.
That happens in the U.S. actually. I see them. Yeah.
So they are basically we are telling them that so actually there's two school of thought. One school of thought are saying that it is kind of an opportunity to them that they will reform. okay, doing this job, and the other school of thought is like they are just unpaid laborers, and the prison system is actually making a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
money
right.
out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you are making a prison, it's gonna cost, there's a government cost which goes into that, right?
Right.
So to just running the prison is the cost.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I have the uh, negative aspects of it, but I don't know how to solve it even. Because you need some kind of, correctional mechanism in the sense, because, in a society, somebody is gonna do something bad. Okay, humans are like that. They are not all saints. Okay, and I think,
Right.
even in fact, we are not like the crime. We don't do like the heinous crime, but if I feel sometimes that if there would not been have been laws, I wouldn't have like stood for the traffic light or something. I do like there is sense of fear that if I'm gonna break it, I'm gonna be fined, right? So
Right.
I'm gonna do the right thing. It doesn't mean that I wanna break it, but there is something in there is that I might be late, right? And
Right.
I'd have jumped it, but because of the fine, so I'm gonna lay the positive and negative. Okay, late for 5 minutes in the office or like $100 fine. What should I do? So I'm weighing in my mind, and so
Right.
that's why I'm doing the correcting always, the logical thing, right?
Right.
So we need this rule system and we need the fine system, we need the prison system. But is there a better solution for the prison itself? I don't know.
I was thinking. I was watching. Actually, I was listening on the car about how they do prison systems in Norway. You can Google that later yourself. But it's like prison systems there is like it's almost like they enter this prison, but it's there's everyone still gets their own rooms. You can even lock the room. You can have some privacy in the rooms. There's lots of things you can do. You can garden. You can make stuff. So yeah, and then they also trust each other. Where in the kitchens they actually have real knives. And things like that. And so it depends. I think it's what your goal of a prison is, right? If the goal of the prison is to just separate them from society, I think that's the minimum. That's the minimum requirement of a prison is to separate people from society, right? I think everyone's doing that, but I think if you want to go a step further and say, okay, we want them to actually learn something, and not lose their humanity while they're in prison, that I think is where a lot of prisons fail, right? Yeah, because I think if you just say okay, or and there's like okay, putting them in isolation, they don't put them. It has to have a very strict requirements about how you're just treating them more like human beings than prisoners.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
so
like that is what
yeah,
it should be all about, right? You can't like we always say that you can't like extinguish fire with fire, right? You have
hmm,
to like do something else to do that, right?
yeah, that's right, that's right. So
Yeah, so I think
yeah,
this is a very excellent step, right? You can build a prison like where I think what happened is that uh, if somebody is at fault, you just give them a time to remorse. Like there's
that's right.
also like in the parenting skill, right? Parents will say to the kids that go to the corner and like think about what you did.
Yes,
Then and I think the prison would be like it also should be like about that. They should get time to think like what they did.
yes,
And
yes,
gardening is an excellent, right? You
yes,
can think
yes,
about it and then the garden.
yes, 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 yes. I agree. Yeah.
And in fact, like I don't know if we can include meditation or because like a lot of crimes happen in the passion, right? In the heat of the movement. So like if,
Hmm.
if the meditation helps, or I'm also thinking well one step further. What Ching is if it is in the genes, if like a lot of people could control it and other people can't, then what? What
It's possible. It's possible, but I think it's sometimes more about upbringing too. I think it's about upbringing. It's the culture that's you're surrounded with, right? So.
Yeah, that's true. But there's sometimes like if there's like the parent has an anger issue or like
Hmm.
some
Oh,
issue, the kids also have that, right? Sometimes, so
it depends,
yeah,
I won't say
because
that that's completely true because I think depend. Like for example, as you probably do the same thing as when you learn what not to do or what to do based on the people around you, right? And so if you know that's like okay, oh, like for example, I can say it's like when I looked at my parents and then I have my own children now, it's like, well, what do I want to take from what I experienced from them to what do I want to copy, so to speak, and what I don't want to copy and what I want to improve on, right? So I think everyone just takes their life experience. You don't have to copy the bad, So, um,
like
yeah,
what I think also like in even in kids, okay, what I'm thinking is that they are also making like these logical choices, right? Like
right,
if they overstep, if they overstep their boundaries, they're gonna do like they're gonna get some form of punishment or they're like
right,
game rights go away. So they'll always make a logical decision, and this is the moment they stop themselves of doing something wrong, okay, because they could understand the repercussions. But what I'm thinking is a kid who just lose it, even if he knows that the repercussions would be bad, but he still goes with it,
mm,
because he's not able to make that logical, he's not able to put a restraint in him. So
right,
just I'm saying that if it is in the genes,
mm,
because everything what we did is encoded in the genes, right?
mm,
So obviously the parents to son is not true, okay, but the genes could be like from the grandfathers and could be
mm,
from anyone, right? you know it might be like I was just thinking that we are at the like the good chance of the coin, and somebody
mm,
just landed with a bad chance of the coin. Okay, because like some people also grow up to be good person, even if they're
mm,
like abusing parents or they
right,
still
right,
they think go beyond that and have. I was thinking like they just had a good chance. That's it. Uh,
understand, yeah,
well,
yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not the expert, but
yeah, I'm more of a believer that it's really about your society, though. I think it's what you grew up with, right? I think like yeah, as I see my kids grew up when they're kids, they just don't know. Okay, what happens if I drop this cup? Oh, it broke. Okay, then what, right? So it's like they just don't understand the consequence, right? And so if you then say, oh, my parents got upset, oh, okay, then that's not good, and oh, they have to clean up. They learn that over time. I think again, I think kids is about we are more lenient towards kids because they don't understand the cause and effect, and we teach them. And you're right, maybe some people grow up and they didn't learn it in their when they were kids, and so they just still, you know what, I'm just gonna do it, right?
yeah, like
And so,
some mothers are like so excellent mothers, and parents are so
mhm.
excellent, but the kids grow up to be like they whatever they like they go against their parents, right?
Oh, that yeah, that's a different mentality then. That's a different problem.
Yeah, maybe they need too much leniency or what? I don't know
Mhm.
because they never had the understanding of a consequence. So
Yes, yes, yes. Then I will argue whether you are a good parent or not, right?
But then is their parents is at fault also? Maybe they grow up to be like so lenient because their parents were so lenient, and then they thought that it will work out, and it didn't. you know.
Mm.
So
Everyone tries their best, I guess,
yeah,
right?
true. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Because
okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
logically they're thinking that they are doing the best, right?
sure.
Like I have seen this school of thought that we will shower so much love so that the bad part will be converted to good.
Mm.
I will like, I've seen a mother what she was doing. The kid was small, okay, so he was hitting his mother. He was hitting his mother, and the mother was like tightly clutching to her, like just loving her, loving him, But I was thinking like it is going in the wrong direction. He is still hitting him. So,
Yes.
but I could understand her thought process, what she was trying to do. She was trying to fix everything through love. But I don't think that works too well.
Yeah, there has to be a balance, right? It's the yin and the yang of things, right? You
Correct,
can't
correct.
be, you can't teach anyone completely with yin and be soft, right?
True,
It
true,
has
true.
to be a little bit of the
Yeah,
black and the white, you know? So if you're
I,
just, yeah,
like throughout my life, I just thought like balance is the key to everything.
yeah,
If you go to the extremist side, you're gonna suffer. you know, you can't
definitely.
like you can't just like there's also like another school of thought that they should be punished. There should be like
Right,
a physical punishment. But
right,
when it goes to like extreme in length, and then it becomes like the kid doesn't understand the consequences anymore. Like
right,
he's
right.
he just got desensitized to that punishment. So
Yes,
that consequence is not a consequence for him anymore.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think that's what they think about the society also. So these are the kids which will become the bullies in school. That what like the parents have done them to them, they're gonna go into the school and
Mm,
do the kids as well.
mm,
Because like 100% I've seen the kids who behave in a like a wrong manner in a society,
mm.
and I've seen their parents, and like 98% of time I have seen these flaws with them. Either they're like abusive or they are very lenient. That these extremists like the
Interesting.
kids suffer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, in fact, I'm gonna tell you a funny story. So, so my father is like so like he has his grandkids, he has his kids. So, and he's very attached to like when he see like the age similar to the grandkids, so he was just parking his car, and he was just looking at the window to the kid, okay, and just nothing like he was just parking a car and just was glancing the kid, and the kid just, what revolted him back. Why are you looking at me like that?
Hmm.
You don't have a sense. And the kid was so small. My father was like, he was surprised what the kid said. No, he was
Mm,
just, he just was looking at him, and I was like very caring manner, and he was just parking the car. So, and his parents, I've seen his parents, how they treat him,
mm.
how they act. And they extremely act in like a very rude way to other people. That is gonna translate to your kids only.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's
That's
unfortunate. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah,
and so like so so we had this like goal thing we wanna talk about too. Okay,
sure.
so, so like everything needs to have a goal, right? Even if it's parenting.
Yeah, everything we've talked about basically can you can summarize it to one thing. It's like what was their goal, right? What is the goal of the mother letting his child keep hitting her, right? And what so
In fact, exactly, in fact, every protagonist you see in anime, he has a goal, you know.
mm,
Somebody wants to become the, Hokage or the king or the best
right,
person in that field. He will
right,
always have that goal, and he's gonna persevere for that. You
right,
know.
right,
So being as a parent, I think you have to come from a like what your goal is, like what you see in your kids, like what is your vision for them, what you want them to inculcate.
right. But I think you're missing one point when you said he wants to be Hokage, like basically for people who don't know on Naruto, he wants to be the leader of the
Yeah,
village, right?
leader of the village.
So
Yeah,
it's like, but I think to me, the question is the more important is that's the what, right? That's the goal, but
yeah,
why? The why of the goal is more important, right?
yeah.
So I think the why of the goal, I think, is because he wants to be respected by his peers,
Exactly. He was
right?
wanted to
Because
be
he was an
accepted
outsider.
by the villagers. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. He was an outsider, and he that was ever since he was a child, he was an outsider, right? And he felt that the that is the ultimate way of making sure that everyone in the village will like him, right? And so to me, yeah, since we're moving to goals, that's perfect. It's like sometimes having a goal that doesn't have a strong why
Mhm.
doesn't work.
Mm, that's true.
Okay, because you might be doing the goal and then you'll be like, oh, it's too hard. If you
Mhm.
don't have a good why to back it up, you'll just let go,
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's true.
right? So
Because I just don't want to say it on air, but like I have a vision for what I'm doing for this video making.
there you go.
The
Yeah.
process is so hard, but I have a vision for that. Is like what I'm gonna achieve through that.
Right.
Even if I don't get views, I don't get like, I still want to create these stuff because
Hmm.
it is instrumental in achieving my vision.
Sure. Sure.
You seriously you never gonna pursue it. A lot of people come into YouTube. Like I've been making like 4 months like YouTube videos. Okay. So like people just give in like after two videos, 3 videos. They're not
Right.
gonna go. But I have just decided that I gonna go with one video in 1 week, like anyhow, if it is
Okay.
well or not.
Okay.
Because I have a that's why.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I can understand. I didn't thought about it like intentionally, but when you spoke out, the why is important. That's how can I relate. That's how I can see that how I push myself to a
Mm.
lot of things is because I have that goal.
Right. And I think again, if you understand the why, sometimes the what is definitely arbitrary,
Mhm.
right? It's like you're saying, and I don't know what your why is, right? And you don't have to explain it to me, but like for example, and your what right now is the podcast and the YouTube, but you need to be flexible with that, right? Because as long as you're going towards your goal, the goal does not have to be YouTube, right? What if there's another platform that comes out,
Correct, correct.
right? You go to that one, right? So don't be inflexible on the what, as long as it's meeting the goal, right?
So,
So
excellent
yeah,
example that
yeah.
TikTok has been like banned in India. So the people
You're
who
right,
are
and they're
who,
inflexible and they get
yeah,
upset, right?
exactly.
But
And the people who were very smart, they switched to like Instagram and YouTube instantly.
sure, sure,
They set their followers to like follow them in their YouTube channel or Instagram channel.
exactly,
You know,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, true. But if you have a vision and then if you have what, okay, and you have a why, okay, and but I also think that how much you want to persevere in what is also important, okay.
Oh yeah,
Look,
yeah, yeah.
because you don't know like you can go on changing the what and then you don't come to like the why. There's some effort which has to go in what, okay, now you think like for me it is always a timeline, okay. I always put a timeline on my what, okay, this is what I'm gonna do,
I
okay. So
see.
for example, I was preparing for GRE, so I had a timeline that I gonna prepare it for the 2 years, okay, like for 2 years, and I'm gonna give it 3 times, and uh, what I want to say that if it happens or not, or if I got a score or not, if I got a good score or not, I thought I will go it through 3 times. I'm gonna go for at least 2 years. Okay,
Mm.
so that's what I'm trying to say that you have to put a timeline when you're gonna give up or you what you're gonna decide to change the what.
Right, right. That makes sense. I think again, that's why the why matters, right? I think it's like, and sometimes the why is could be financial,
Yeah.
could be it's related to your, you know, yeah. I was gonna, yeah. Anyways, yeah. It's about it's time related or potentially even financially related.
Correct.
There's many things that could affect the why, right? And so you pick three for a reason. But yeah, that's important, right?
Yeah,
So,
what I'm trying to say is like you have to box the what,
mm,
because then you don't know if the what is working or not.
no,
You should have
that's
like
right.
the
That's right.
parameter.
That's right. You cannot. Yeah. So like I'm watching Shark Tank, right? I'm watching Shark Tank, and then you see some of these investors go in there with their ideas, and they're so passionate about it. And it's like, so their why is very clear, right? And it's like they want to do this. Their goal is very clear, but then they don't time box it. And then what happens is then the sharks start asking them question about, well, how long have you been doing this? How much money have you made? And they were like, oh, it was 3 years and I'm made $14,000. And I'm like, no, why only 14? And anyways, and again, some of these stories are it's they're telling them the bitter truth, which is like, just let it die, just let this idea die, because I understand you're passionate about it, which is why you're standing here and why we're listening to you. But no one is going to invest in something that's not working, right? And so I think, yeah, time. Some people ideally can time box it themselves, right? But some people might not, and they might have to be told by someone else. It's like,
I mean,
you
yeah,
know,
I mean, it depends also. Like, is that a business idea or something is
mhm.
like a kind of passion? I don't know if you can time box a passion. You think about that, but
That's fine, yeah. But in this case, for the Shark Tank idea, he basically the goal was to make a business, right? And that's why he wants
exactly.
to. The goal is to make a business, and that's why the person went to Shark Tank and is like trying to pitch it and get more investors, right? And so, I'm not saying the passion is wrong, but I think the what is wrong, right?
To
How
me,
they're trying to implement the passion is wrong.
I think, even if the what is right, even the
Yeah.
why is right, my thinking is that you have to dissociate money from the passion itself. If you're something passionate about, that
Mm.
doesn't mean that it's gonna make you money out of it. Okay,
It
so
depends. If it
if
depends if the why is money related though, right? In their case, they're trying to make a business, right? And so if the why is related to money, then the what and the why is has to be related that way.
But I don't know if you can be so passionate about, like, if you're passionate about making money, I think you're gonna change the ideas, right? Your
Mm.
what is gonna change automatically,
Okay, I
because
see what you're saying.
yeah,
I
if
see
you
what you're
don't,
saying.
so what I'm trying to say is, uh, if your why is your passion is kind of thing, like if you wanna being a footballer, okay,
Yeah.
you can, nobody is gonna be always in like playing in a team or playing in a league. They are making bunch of money, but there is a
Right.
very high percentage cutoff. Either you play it or you're just playing for the passion itself.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right. Right.
So the money is gonna go towards passion. It's gonna never come out and never make you the money out. That's what I'm saying. You have to dissociate the idea with, like, for business, the sole purpose is to make money. That's
Sure.
it. You know,
Sure. 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 Sure.
if it
Yeah, I
if
get it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So if
and in
it is
this case, yeah, in this case, I think again, I think what they're saying is clear. I mean, you're right. I think so. It's like it is clear that it's a money losing business, right?
yeah,
But if money is not a concern, keep doing it,
exactly.
right? That's fine.
you
But
know,
if making money is a goal, then you should stop.
because like I was in a mall and there was like a shop, and the shop had these weird toy things, okay, in that shop, okay,
Mm,
and I could see that nobody in that shop, and the shop is still open, and I was
mm,
wondering who is this who has left the shop open till now.
mm.
It should have been closed, but I was thinking maybe the guy has money, okay, and
Yeah, yeah,
he just using it as like a front, as a passion, and he can just
sure.
put that money into it. He doesn't care if it sells or not. He just was happy about it.
Sure. Sounds like that to me is just like a non-profit, right? You know it's
Yeah,
gonna lose money, but it's serving a greater good, perhaps,
yeah.
right?
Maybe they break even as well. Okay.
Sure,
So, but until unless they're making profit, it is not a business.
sure.
you know,
Agreed. Agreed.
business is like you have to make profit, you have to expand.
Yes,
Two
that's
things.
right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's good. Good.
So, Ching, like, there was something we were also like thinking about talking is, like, sometimes people limit themselves. Okay, and some, like, you were also like recently, like, you were into this topic also. So I was like,
Yes.
what? Like, so uh, what I think, like, there's like I can see two things in there. Like, if you limit yourself, but even if you don't put a time bound, then you lose time. And if you unrestrict yourself, okay, and there's no time bound, there may be some kind of ideas. Like, how do you go about it? You know,
Right. Right. Right.
what you
Yeah.
want to do?
Yeah, I think this is I've been reading this book called Decisive, right? Making decisions in work and life, right? And so one of those sins, there's lots of things in the book, but the first principle is really about making sure that when you make a decision, try not to think of it in an or, right?
Okay.
It's like, oh, do I have to do this or this? If at that point you're time boxing yourself to say I have to pick one. Well, what if we just step back and say why don't we do both? Or maybe when you're considering trying to do both, you might even come up with a different option because you have opened up your mind to something completely different, right? And yeah, sometimes doing both is a waste of time potentially, right? Depending, it's like if it's something for work, for example, it's like oh, I can't make a decision, so I'm going to do both, right? That could potentially waste time, but
Actually,
that's not a bad, it depends really.
Uh,
So
true, true. I would agree with you. I actually read a book myself also, and
yeah.
it was how to design simply. Okay, the simplicity of a design. Like right
Sure.
now, also like we don't have designed a door which works well. Like we were still finding the locks or is it to push or to pull?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It goes sideways. So he was talking about a simple design, and he came to a conclusion that that door should like open itself. That's the simplest design. And it should
Right.
close and it goes back. So in that book I was reading, and he said the same thing. If you design something only from one perspective, okay, for example, you're trying to make like there's a feature where you like maybe have your legs and the back storage of the car just opens up, you know so that is like a feature, right? If you just maybe if you just took the average height and
Right.
didn't consider the shorter people or the
Uh-huh.
longer people,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna lose that segment. If you
Uh-huh.
design from one perspective only, and
Right.
then suddenly it just what happens in the second perspective. So he
Right.
says that
Right.
go through that second perspective, third perspective to see that design and come up
Right.
which is like a universal one.
Right. 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 No,
So
I
like
think
it is the same
that
thing, right? You step
yeah.
back, you don't have to like do this or do that.
Right. Right.
How
No,
can you
that
do?
one. I think that one when you're talking about a door, I think that the problem with that is the second problem that's mentioned in the book is bias. You use your biases that your experiences, right, to solve the problem, and actually that is a good thing, if you really know the end user very well, right, and it hits the market, it's perfect. But if you're relatively new in that field, your biases might be too limiting, right? Whereas or it's going to hit your market very well, but not a different market. Like you said,
Yeah,
it's going to be perfect for average size, average height people, but not for the really tall people or the really short people, right? And so yeah, that's the problem. It's like yeah, the second one is things overcoming your own biases, right?
yeah, that's
And yeah, and being able to get feedback and whatnot to make sure that you're making the right decision.
so actually this is like the design that design simply design book also said that, and
Mhm.
also there was something I read an article. So there's like you go to your customers and talk with them, not like
Right.
a survey or something. Like a
Sure.
survey gives you a general kind of data, but you
So
just go and talk to have that physical talk with them, the interaction with them. You know,
sure.
that's really important to know what the
Yeah.
customer is thinking.
Yeah. But as as I have learned at work, even customers have biases, right? So you have to, yeah, you just have to be able to get. you have to be able to think about the other different perspectives, right?
True, true.
So yeah,
That's why
so
like no, so that's why like we have these three different perspectives, thinking about it. And then we try to like make it into one. Like it can cater this market, this market, this market.
yes, yes,
Huh?
definitely,
So we
definitely,
try to make that universal one, right?
yes, ideally, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I did.
yeah, yeah, that just requires more time usually.
Yeah, right, true, true,
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
So so I think like so like the other aspect like you all didn't want to talk about like I always seen you as a like a humble person, right? You know I like uh, you I like I've seen other people who have like they brag a lot or they very extroverted in nature
Mm.
but you have always come out as a very humble and very logical kind of person. You don't in fact I've seen that even you don't take compliments too well. So you're gonna just
That,
ask about it like
yeah.
I don't know like so like
I mean, what's your question though? I
like
mean,
my question is like my question is like uh, i- is that you stick to your personality or like stick to your logical side of like I've seen you very logical in a lot of things, so I just wondering like and I've seen other people they go extroverts, okay, and
mm,
they go overboard, they brag, and I don't know if that works for them or not, so
yeah,
like
I
I was
don't.
wondering like what is like it's kind of I'm trying to think about it. What is kind of like a characteristic which like we take forward in our life? That's what I'm thinking.
Right. I mean, you had a podcast about introvert and extrovert too. I think,
Exactly.
yeah. I think. Well, my take of it is I can think for the most part there is no point in bragging.
Okay.
And this is something my parents have taught me when I was a kid. Basically, they said, it doesn't matter, because when I was a kid, I sometimes asked them, it's like, hey, how much money do you make? Do we have enough money? And they always tell me the same thing, and I've done it for my kids as well. It's like, you know what? Don't worry about how much money I make. You know, don't worry about. That's not something to brag or tell other people about. As long as you have enough, for yourself, it's enough. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, and so
But if
that,
you think about it,
yeah,
marketing, branding, no,
yeah,
it's just a part of
it's a
like
yes,
you,
yes.
you have to go and sell yourself to people, right?
Agreed. So again, that's why I think for the most part, there is a side of you that needs to be extrovert. Like for example, if you're doing interviews, right? If you're trying to find a job, if you're trying to sell, if you're sell anything, right? If you're trying to sell yourself or you're trying to sell a product, you have to be extrovert, or you have to be able to brag about things. So I think it depends on the situation, right? If the situation requires you to brag about something, then if you don't know how to brag, then you should learn how to brag, right? But yeah, so that's the balance, really, right? I think,
Again, the balance thing, right?
yeah, again, right, again, you cannot just be an introvert all your life, because then if you're trying to sell something, then you will not sell very well, right? Even and whatnot. So I think, yeah, for the most part, when I'm talking with technical people, there is no need to brag about things. I do brag when when we're working on things where it's like we're number one in the market in certain things, right? But for the most part, there's no need to brag about something. There's so that's how I feel about. And what's the point of bragging? Because there's always going to be someone better than you, isn't there? I mean, you might think that you're the best in the world, but I think that's not true. It's
Yeah,
it's it's rarely the case. And so when you brag, you are also setting yourself up for challenges,
and
right?
I was just going to say that, like,
Yeah.
what I feel is that often it also has a positive sense. If you have that right mindset, for
Yeah.
example, if I brag and the other
Mm.
person comes at it, like it becomes a challenge, and then you go
Exactly.
like surpass each other. Like it's a positive thing if you do take it, you know.
Mm. Right.
Yeah, like I don't know, I don't want it to be arrogance. It should not be arrogance.
Um,
You know,
yeah, that's
like
true.
you trying to put down people, and you just be humble and help people who are asking for help, to an
Right.
extent,
Right.
where it enables them to fish their own food, so
Mm.
up to an extent you help them, but also I feel that the marketing and the branding is necessary. For example, if you need a promotion, you're gonna have to tell your manager like what you have done. Okay, you have did it. Like, even if doesn't becomes like a lot of bragging, you can
Yeah.
just tell the facts. Like it is like the facts. Then you also can be a person who can just keep quiet and let the manager know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the people
Agree.
is gonna notice. No, they are not gonna. You have to go
Right.
and tell them that you have done this. You have
Right.
achieved it. And
Right. Right. Right.
it's not actually bragging if you have actually done it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
People
and
actually
extrovert being extrovert doesn't mean you're bragging either, right? Extrovert just means you externalize your thoughts more
exactly.
potentially, right? Versus internalizing it,
Yeah.
right? And so it's that's all. I mean, bragging I think is a maybe when you externalize something, people can perceive it as bragging, right? But
Yeah,
maybe
that
you
happens.
just yeah, or maybe you're just externalizing. You're just spewing out facts, right? um and yeah, so yes.
That's true. Because I think even what I can imagine is that a balance could be like the budget or normal budget for marketing is like 10% of the profits.
Mm.
Okay. So so that means you can inculcate 10% of that bragging. So it is not that over. Because even if you do the marketing, the product has to worth something, right? What the product does, okay? If
Right.
if the product is bad, no amount of marketing can help you out.
Right. So that at that point, then you're bragging, right? Or
Yeah,
you're
that's what
lying, right?
bragging. Yeah,
You're bragging or lying, and so
in
that's
fact,
yeah. Mm.
see, people what they do is like they take credits for other people's work.
Oh, that's
That's totally deceiving now.
right. Yeah. So that just you're just not being a good person at that
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
That's a different. uh,
But people do that. They do it
yeah,
all
no,
the
I
time.
understand.
You know,
I
there's
understand.
always there's always a clash between who will take the credit for the work, and the
Right.
person who has done the 10%. He's not gonna agree to that he has done 10%. He's gonna say that I have done equally important job.
I would, yeah, and so that to me, I don't know, I would never be able, I cannot think of a mindset why that person would do that. That is beyond my mind.
It's
Uh,
basically, I think, there are two types of people. Okay, so the first people type of person is like if I arrive an answer on my own, in the sense like if there's a riddle, okay, and I can solve it on my own. I got into an answer. Okay, I will be very happy if the answer is correct. Okay,
right.
and then the other type of person who's gonna go to the internet. He is gonna got get the answer and gonna tell everybody that I got the answer. So
Mm,
for him, the satisfaction was not to get the answer. For him, the satisfaction, the fame which has to come with the answer was necessary.
right, right. Yeah. Yeah, and so,
Because I will never get the satisfaction. Even if I get praise for something I never did, I will never
right.
gonna get that satisfaction.
Yeah.
So I guess like
Yeah. It depends, right? I think I guess I get it, but also personally, I just don't see how that is satisfaction, right? That is, you're lying to yourself to a certain
because
degree.
I think maybe they're in a job they don't like, or they are like want to make money, easy money, or they want like easy promotion or something. Because like easiness is kind of satisfaction if you get something easy. Oh,
Mm,
I get it. Oh, I got a lottery. It was easy.
mm,
I guess maybe like that satisfaction.
yeah.
because
and,
their concern is about the money itself, you know. So
and
it's
not
not
how you
about,
get it, right?
yeah,
And so
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And people can have that mindset, like they just want to earn money, like hook or crook, they want to just, you know, they
yeah,
don't want to refine themselves or, you know, get better at this, even if there's no money involved.
yeah. I wonder if the quality of integrity, if that's integrity, you know. We say, oh, we need to have accountability and things like that. But I wonder, integrity, I think, if you have a person of high integrity, then you would not claim other people's work for your own, for example, right? You would not,
Yeah.
because that's just, then you have a person with low integrity.
But I guess, you know, it also depends. You know, I will give you
Mm,
a very good example. You know, I never cheated on my exams, not in my college days, not in my schools. Okay, so what? Why I didn't cheat? Like I was always taught, because I always weighed down. It didn't mean that I could didn't want to cheat. You know, it would have been very easy. But the fact I was so scared, and the scared,
mm,
and I had the ability. I thought the amount I will be scared on, like to cheat, I can just do the, like, you know, understand that stuff and go on to the test. You know, I
mm,
never cheated because I never had to, because I could understand that stuff. But what happens to people who don't have that intelligent ability? Because I
right.
think, we are born with some certain kind of intelligence. Everybody is like not born like Einstein or like everybody doesn't are equal in the intelligence department as well. You can say that he know with knowledge, with, persuasion, he gonna reach. No, maybe he gonna be at better field, but he's not gonna. If he's not at this good field, if he's not good at math, I don't know how amount of, like, even if we put pressure on it, the improvement would be marginal only. And is
Mm,
that worth it?
mm, mm,
So,
mm,
so for him, like cheating and to study, for him, the cheating, like, it just gives him the logical ability. I can, even if because I'm gonna fail anyway, so I will cheat and I can pass. That's a plus point for me, right?
right, right. Yeah, yeah,
So,
I agree. I
so
agree.
what I'm trying to say is the integrity comes with the intelligence or with the power. If you have the power,
It's
why would
true.
you break integrity, right? Why would
Right,
be you dishonest? Because you can
right,
get the thing with honesty, right? You can get the thing
right,
with the intelligence.
right. I agree. I agree. I think, yeah, but then to me, then that's part of. It's like when you're talking about somebody cheating, and it's like I understand when you're in school, you not actually in grade school, right, from 1 to 12, you have to take all of these classes, right? And the point of these schools is really to expose you to all of these variety of things, so that you know what you're good at and what you're not good at, right? And some people are good at everything, I guess, and that's
Yeah.
great. But some are not, and they get punished because then their grades are not as good, right? That someone who can do everything great, right? And so, yeah, I get it. I get that part of cheating, but I think that just cannot continue to real life to post school, because to me in post school you're supposed to work on, well, I guess this is how I feel. It's like I feel that if you don't love what you do, living is it's you're spending almost eight more than eight. They say working 8 hours is because of what it's like. They want you. There's 24 hours in a day. 8 hours for work, 8 hours for personal, 8 hours of sleep. Right. So you're spending a third of your life doing something you don't like. Right.
Like losing
So
a
I
ten
feel.
percent.
Yeah, I feel that that's really sad. And so to me, it's like, okay, I can understand the cheating when you're in grade school, but don't do it in real life. There's no point. You might as well do something you like,
Like
you know?
I'm gonna give you an example. I agree with you, but I gonna like give a small example also why it doesn't happen, because I
Mm,
can understand that perspective. Because think about it, if I want to be singer, okay, but I don't have the voice or the singing ability or the talent, Okay,
Right.
no, but I'm very passionate about it. I'm trying, but I'm not going anywhere. Okay, so you wanna go somewhere and have a job.
Mm.
Okay, even if you're
I
passionate
get it. I
about
get it. I
something,
get it. I get it. Okay.
but
I know. Yeah.
you know,
I understand.
you are stuck in a job which you don't want to do, and you're
Uh,
not good at your passion.
yeah. I know. I understand. I understand. Yeah. I understand, but then to me, then that's okay. I guess you can almost make that acceptable because then what you're spend is a means to an end, right? Because you
Yeah,
have something better. I
and
get it.
that is the key word. Like if
Mm,
it's means to an end,
yeah,
everything is now it's means to an end.
yeah,
Other people's work, how to get money easy. No,
yeah,
everything is
that's
like
true.
means to an end, right? That's how it. The same thing which happens in the grade school, that's
Yeah,
converted into real life.
that's true.
So,
I see it now. You're right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
because like I have tried to pursue a lot of fields, so I could feel their pain, even if it has a lot of passion, it doesn't mean it will translate. You can
yeah,
keep on doing hard work, but that's it. That was the limit, boy.
yeah. I understand. Yeah. Yeah,
So
that brings up these discussions I have with you. It's not, it's not just me. It's really I'm getting something from your end too.
yeah, this is the I feel that the podcast is kind of an experience. It's not
Yes.
if it's not about like just just conversing stuff. You
Yeah.
get something perspectives you never had. It's just
Yeah.
amazing.
I agree. I agree.
So talking about perspective, we were talking wanted to talk about like what we gonna happen, like what would be the aftermath of COVID-19, how the
Yeah. Yeah.
society is gonna work. This is a big question now.
It is. It is. I mean, to me, there's yeah. I think there's obviously lots of areas that are getting impacted, and even people's lives are getting impacted, right? But it's like I think there's just people's lives are just so different now, and I can and is COVID going to be the only pandemic? And if you think of it that way too, it's like, how are we going to survive in a world where maybe pandemics are more common, right? And so it's like, and so to say that, oh, is everything going to return to normal the way it was before? I don't know. I think it's like I even heard some. I think maybe it was Dr. Anthony Fauci was saying once. It's like maybe the handshake will just disappear, right?
I was thinking the same. Like
Yeah.
now from here onwards, how do I interact with people?
Yes.
Will
Certain
we
things will
always
just be
like wearing
different.
masks and
Mm,
and how do you do that all stuff?
right. Right. I feel it's like, yeah, it's like maybe in the past it's like wearing masks, like me wearing a mask in an airport or in an airplane felt, it's like, it's not necessary, right? But
Yeah,
maybe now it is necessary, right? It's like, and even after this pandemic is gone, maybe it just is, you know what, you're used to it, so why don't you just keep doing
exactly.
it, right? And so,
That was the exact thought. Like I never thought about like I will wear mask and everything.
right,
Because I always felt that especially Asians people, okay,
yeah,
India, Japan, China, they were like the strong kind of people. They have a higher immunity. So I never felt that I would gonna become sick or something.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
now now it's like something even if the pandemic goes away, it's
yeah,
gonna reoccur. It's not gonna go because you know if from one person it could go to millions, and if you just bring down to only one person, what are the chances that it would not rebound back? You
right,
know,
right,
it can't go back to what it was. You just need one person, right?
right, exactly. Exactly. And I think it's about what we're again, just hygiene, right? I wonder in this world where it's like before, it's like, we tolerate certain things. It's like you can think about how, when if we're concerned about Uber, like we're saying, oh, Uber is kind of oh, I don't want to rent cars, or that I don't want to sit in somewhere where somebody else, you don't know how. I guess what I'm saying is we're becoming more germaphobes, right? We're like, we're worried about germs, and I wonder there's just so much industry that that relies on people sharing things, right? From airplanes to movie theaters to
Restaurants.
concerts to sports. I mean, there's just so many things that it's like it just is the scale of having your own everything is just
I will tell you, I will just remember a funny thing. I
yeah.
can see now ads now how they're promoting businesses. They are making you emotional. That like remember the guy who brought you extra fries. Now remember that people who smiled at you. They're trying to bring us to your restaurants.
Oh, I like that. That's good. That's
They are
good.
trying to like emotional guilt trip us.
Yeah.
Man, I can't go, man. This is risky. I can just make my own food here. I have nothing to do. I'm at my home. Why should I take chances and go to a restaurant or even
Yeah.
bring down food to my house? Because
Uh,
I feel that even if I am making my food, okay, sometimes I sneeze and I'm just wondering, did it went to the food or not? Even though I will go and just wash my hands, like
right.
okay, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
It just
yeah, yeah.
happened. I can't do
It's your
anything
own
about it.
germs, huh? It's
Yeah,
your
yeah,
own
yeah.
germs.
But and what do you think? The guy who's making the restaurant, nothing is gonna happen there, and he's like, this food is not gonna go to me anyway. you know?
Yeah, that's to me is an interesting dirty. I think that's just something that's I don't know why people are so germaphobes, but then they're like, okay, yeah, but we can still eat in restaurant. Oh, okay, you're not eating in the restaurant. You can drive through it, and it's like, well, if you're a real germaphobe, you would not do takeout either for the things you
Yeah.
mentioned because it's like you don't know if the cook is sick. You don't know, right? You just don't know.
but
So,
now it's just like the ratio of like if you're gonna be sick, it would be like for 4 days, 5 days. You at most you will have a stomach bug or you will have like a cold for like 5 days. Now it's like something like now it's like a life and death situation. And
yes.
it's also a gamble. Like my body is gonna survive or not is the question. So like
Yes.
this becomes like now the stakes are high.
Yes. That's right. That's
And,
right.
and the more point is that I'm in my home. I have time. The drive out, the takeouts always work because people didn't have time. That's why the business was
Now you
growing.
have time. I like it.
Now
Yeah, that's
you
a good
have time.
point. Yeah, yeah, that's
No,
true.
you just can cook now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Also, there's a balance at the end. It's like sooner or later, it's like the kids will have to go to school and things like that, right? And then yeah, when you go back to normal, can everything that we've done in the past be the same way? Probably not, right? It's like if everything is like, oh, we have to go back to work and everything, then we will have to increase our risk tolerance,
I
right?
think
No matter
what's
what.
gonna happen is like, we have a restraint on ourselves that we gonna take precautions, but
Right.
this gonna last, to us like we gonna give up after like a time of extent. Like let it happen, whatever happens.
Yeah.
Now I need to go. Like it's like I have to take the risk.
Right.
Because I can't live like that.
Right.
When we think about it, it's a do or die situation. Because we have put so much restraint on ourselves. Like we will not do that. We will not go out, or we will not have that. But after some time, I think I like okay. I am kind of in the safe bracket. What is the risk? And I'm very fed up. So like people are gonna take more risk, and it
Sure.
is if even if the vaccine doesn't come out, I think the world would be like in a kind of a vicious circle. The people who will survive COVID and the people who will not survive COVID, and this is gonna happen. And funny thing which comes to my mind is like think about it, like why the disease happens. It always said that you need a combination of crops. Like if you only like plant one crop, it would be like attacked by the same kind of insects which fed on that. Okay, so
mm,
you need those two types of crops. Okay,
mm,
and I feel that like even there like chickens got like if they are in that unsafe environment, all get sick. That
yeah,
lot is bad. And
right.
like and for our humans, we just like are like a big farm of cattle. Like they live everywhere, and they just this is gonna happen. I guess like I think it's not
Yeah.
COVID-19. It's gonna happen again and again.
Yes, yes. I think, yeah, we can blame certain countries and things like that, but the blame game is gonna come around and around. It's like, you can,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's like, to me, it's like, yeah, how do we deal with it is really the biggest thing, and it's like, I think the world
like
is gonna change. Yeah.
think like the simple thing was like people thought about what is the simple situation to like the nuclear warfare. Like,
Mm,
just everybody just stop building nuclear weapons. This is the simplest situation.
that's right.
If you
That's
if
right.
you if you don't want to have that biohazard, just stop experimenting on that line. Somebody was in China was experimenting on it and it got out, right?
Sure. I think
Just
that's a theory, right? That's a theory. But regardless of how it come out, it could still be like in the one that came from the swine flu, right?
yeah.
Was from pigs from the U.S. And it's just it will happen sooner,
Yeah,
right? So and so the question is really, how do we deal with it, right? And so
I think this is the risk of the society it comes from. Like, if you
mm,
have like one type of crop, it's gonna happen. Like
mm,
we had so many flus, right? Not one flu, and so I think it's gonna happen again and again and again. And I just
yes,
feel that like I thought like AIDS or cancer doesn't have the vaccines. Then I never thought about it. The cold doesn't have vaccine, or like the have A and B
it
C.
does. It does. The cold has a the flu has a vaccine, but but there's so many strains of it. But so there's also an effective rate.
Yeah, true, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but means like feels me like they don't have the cancer or the AIDS or the Hep A and C. What if the
Mm,
COVID-19 doesn't have the vaccine for a long
mm.
time? Like they are just these are things which are already common and they don't have vaccines.
Yes, yes, I see what you mean. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know
I think
what?
it's the infection rate that is really spooking people,
Alarming.
right? Yeah, that's what's alarming. Is like, I think the infection rate of some of
But
the other pandemics are less.
But see, I was reading like I don't know if it's true or not. Like how much it is true, I don't know. Like one of four like got the Hep virus. One in four Americans. I don't know how
Mm,
true the stats is,
I don't know
but
either. Yeah.
yeah, so I just read it somewhere. So I was think like this is also like and it's not only that virus. Lot of kind of strains in us
Yeah.
like they already are like remain in our body.
Yeah.
There are a
Yeah.
lot of strains, and I think and COVID-19 is gonna become one also.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess then I think what you're saying is that the world is overreacting to it, right?
I mean, right now it's a pandemic. Like people are dying. It's a overreaction. Is like it's a correct reaction to me. Okay,
Mm,
now it's actually you have to overreact. But I'm
mm,
saying after a lot of time, like when like the things are have become normal in the sense now like if the whole population has like the COVID-19 and some people survive and some people are not. Okay, so like 2 3 generation after like the antibodies have formed and it becomes a normal virus to us, right?
mm,
So
mm.
kind of like that because I don't know, like the study is not conclusive, but like it says that the people who have survived COVID-19 they have generated antibodies. Okay,
Right.
but yeah,
Right.
there are also studies that they have also uh, got the virus again also. So
Right.
it's not properly clear. That why like the CDC has not recommended that even if the antibodies have developed, you just tell them that they are free now, they can do
Mm,
it.
mm.
So the point is that if that is true in that case, if the antibodies have formed, so some portion of the society is going to open up. Okay,
Right. Right.
and some people are and because they have survived and they can survive, they because human are essentially selfish, so they gonna go out, and the people who will not survive, that would be a very sad thing for them, I guess.
Right. Right. I hear you. Yeah, and the way right now, for example, I saw a little meme on Facebook where it's like why people can go on airplanes um, and sit next to each other with masks, right, for hours because an airplane ride might take a long time,
True, true.
but we don't let people sit in the movie theater for an hour and a half or 2 hours watching a movie, which is, and it's like I get it. One is more essential than the other, right? Potentially because like if you have to fly, maybe it's, and yeah, that's debatable as well, right? Sometimes you,
I guess maybe it is an international flight. I think it's
yeah,
like an international issue. They have to
yeah,
take that precaution.
right,
Do
but it's
whatever at your home.
right. But I guess my point is like why we are scrutinizing certain industries more than others. You know, I don't know. It's crazy. It's
I think it's kind of like a backlash which is coming from these industries as well. Like,
yeah, yeah,
you can't, if you're going for enjoyment, you can't put like people on bars. You enjoyed a movie. I could have done that at home.
yeah, yeah. That's
You know,
true. That's
and
true.
I think like like if you can see like the streaming industry is getting like the most the biggest chunk of the pie right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think some movies are exclusively uh, uh, opening up in streams only, in these streams only. Like they don't have to, like they are not a movie theater, exclusively on streams.
Right,
In
right.
these
They
streams only.
they they, they haven't done it for certain movies because I was thinking I read an article actually a couple of days ago why like Mulan, for example, right? It's like, oh, why they keep pushing out Mulan? Why don't they just send it out streaming? Well, it's like they just know if they put it out in stream, they will not get their they don't will not get the same revenue back,
Okay.
because it's so expensive. And
But
it's
I
like,
guess then you have to charge your streaming service accordingly, correct?
right,
You
right,
you can't just put your movie at a streaming service and say, okay, I'm gonna go for low amount of money. You have to
right,
charge accordingly, right? Because
right,
they are
right,
also
right.
these streaming services are making a lot of money as well right now.
Right, right, yeah. This has to be something on top of it, for
Yeah.
example, right? That
Maybe like
so
they make an exclusive deal with the streaming service.
right,
You know?
right, right, right.
Because
So,
right now, like there's a movie called Psych 2. I'm a very big fan of Psych TV series. You know,
mm.
it
Oh,
is,
Psych, yeah, I've been watching that too, actually. I
yeah,
love it.
I
Yeah,
love that series. I mean, it is my all-time favorite show because it
yeah.
has that. I always feel that the character is like kiddish in nature. He's like in 30s or something, but he have that always kept his childishness alive. And that
True,
character is all about
true,
that.
true, true.
And he's intelligent.
Yes.
So
It's lighthearted, right?
yeah,
It's
exactly.
lighthearted and it's very intelligent show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. The mix is so, and all the characters are so, amazing in
yeah.
there.
Yes, yes.
There's a Sean and there's a Gush, like to your Watson to your
Yes,
Holmes.
yes. Yes, yes, yes.
It
It's a
is a
good
complete
dynamic.
package. I know.
Yes, it's
So
a good
so
dynamic.
basically, they have released their exclusive movie to Peacock
Ah,
streaming service.
mm,
You know,
mm,
so
yeah.
what I'm thinking is like they are making deals in like they will
Right,
exclusively live that.
right, right,
That's
right.
how they can make their own money.
That's true. That's true.
Like
Yeah.
for furthermore for the COVID-19, okay, uh, if we get the vaccine now, then I think all these discussion would go like then it will like you can will it will just become a part of parts of life that you take a prevention shot or something like we
Right,
do right now. So it will
right.
become a part of it. If
Yes.
they come up with a vaccine, if
Right.
there's a lot of hype and like a lot of I've read in the New York Times like they have went to like a lot of have gone to phase 2 and 3 trials, and
Yes.
then days after like CDC approved. Okay,
Yes.
so let's see.
Yeah. I hope it gets there too. So yeah, I've been watching basically a stock market channel in the morning, and they would bring it up, and yeah, there's quite a few,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it makes sense because again, making a vaccine first is not cheap, but even after you make the vaccine, the company wants to make money off of it,
They
so
want
they
to.
won't just make it free for everyone. So then it becomes the question of how quickly can that company ramp up production, right? And so it's like having more than one company that actually has the vaccine is necessary because
Oh,
uh,
because of competition.
from a production standpoint, right? From a
And
scale
so
standpoint.
no
So
company just monopolizes on the vaccine itself.
well, yeah, they can't. I mean, but all of these companies will have their own cocktail of what a vaccine makes looks like, right? And so, and I don't think it will be monopoly, but I think it's also more about, you know, they want to make money off of it, which means that they will produce it in their factories, right? And their factories maybe makes X amount of vaccines per day, right? And so how quickly can you serve the entire world is a problem, right? So the more people that can do it, the better. So,
Like I think from India, like there are two companies in the race which are
mm,
trying to, you
is
know,
that right? Yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, in two
good.
companies in India, and in fact, a lot of US companies are there. You know, a lot of UK, US are all trying to like solve this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But China has approved one vaccine for
Is that right?
military. Yes, they
Oh,
have
is that
approved.
right? Wow.
Yeah, so, but I don't believe how effective that is. You know, but they have approved for the military. Okay,
Okay.
so that.
Wow.
And I also feel that, Ching, like even if you make a vaccine, we don't know the side effects for a long time. You know, that is also like a major concern there.
Yes. That's something I didn't want to bring up, but at the end of the day, that's a problem, right? Something new. Do you want to use it immediately or not, right? I think that's like the phase. That's why all these phase trials.
Yeah, but these are
Yeah,
like focus group, right? Like it
that's true.
can't be never be generalized until let's go into production. Even like
Right,
even we do our software, it's just like how many testing, you're gonna find errors when it goes in production. It
right,
always has been like
right, right,
that.
right.
So
Yeah,
so
I'm not saying that. I'm not discouraging people from taking the vaccine.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. So so I think there's no actually option in there. If you are sick, you're gonna take it. Like what other option you have? No, I'm gonna wait it out. There's the option, right? You're
well,
gonna
I'm
take
not
chances
sure.
for the U vaccine, no?
Yeah, I'm not sure a vaccine is useful if you're already sick, right? The vaccine is supposed to prevent you from getting sick. If you're already sick, taking the vaccine, I'm not sure is recommended, or maybe it is. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because a vaccine is basically what is it? A
A
vaccine of
strain of that some kind of a virus which just
yes.
attack that specific virus, right?
No, no.
And
It's actually a vaccine. Sometimes is a cocktail that actually contains the virus in a weakened form. You
uh,
know, and basically then the point is they inject it to your body, but because you have all these other chemicals and other stuff around it, it promotes your body to fight it and to generate its own your own antibodies. Okay, that's what the purpose of a vaccine is. Now the question is, does it make sense to inject it to someone who's already has it? Maybe, but that's not the main purpose of a vaccine, you
uh,
know? So, yeah, I
okay.
think if you already have the virus, then there are other drugs that I think like one from company in the US that can shorten the time, right? That can make you raise your um,
Chances
rate
of
of survival, yeah, make your probability rate of survival higher. So that's the purpose of vaccine.
uh, So now it's like a like if I would take a prevention now, actually it would be a question. Yeah, that's true. Now I'm gonna think about it. Like should I take
Yeah,
it? Maybe like some people which are dependent on that external work, I think they will go for it because they
right.
have other choices. Like IT people, yeah, they could like survive from home, but the people who
Right.
have like external jobs, they're gonna, you know.
Well, manufacturing, right? Any kind of manufacturing, you do need people there. But I mean, yeah, but maybe it ends up accelerating us to do more robotics, right? It accelerates more. So again, people will,
But I
the
mean, like,
companies need to adapt.
but I still feel like human is kind of a physical being. He wants to touch, he wants to sense, he wanna go out, he wanna do stuff, right?
Mm, mm,
like there's uh, I always wanted to travel, but now it's uh, so I was thinking about like pursuing higher studies, and now and before that I wanted to go to places, I wanted to like cover this and this. Now this checklist is like, no, it is like a bucket list now. It's not a
yeah.
checklist anymore, it's a bucket list.
It's all they say. A lot of people are saying it, but it's same. I think it's like 2020. It's just gonna be a wash, a wash here. Just
Yeah.
remove it from the calendar. It's like just forget about it ever happened. Let's just 2021. Let's just start. Hopefully, right? Knock on wood that it would. It's just. I know it's 1 year. It's you can. I
But
think we just have to put everything on hold.
probably 1 year.
Probably. I hope so.
Let's wish it for that. Let's
Yes.
hope that it is 1 year. Like,
Yes.
lot of progress has been made. They have gone to like the third level trial. So I hope so they will, at the end of the year at least they could come out with some vaccine or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. But
But
let's
like,
hope.
let's look on the positive side of it. Like, if
Mm.
things go to normal, so what do you want to do first?
Well, if you're talking about the positive side, I'm trying to think. Like I said, I was thinking about what's the positive side of having. Well, the positive side of this happening, right? I think. The one I can think of is I hear
People
the
have to live
air.
with themselves. They now have to rediscover themselves. Actually, it's a
Right.
big deal for people. They
Uh,
haven't lived themselves, no, with themselves for such a long time. My
yeah.
friend called me up and she said, like, I don't know what to do. I'm just, I just want to go out, but I can't. So,
Right.
because now this is kind of a thing like where she hasn't had that time to be alone and think,
Yeah.
and that's very kind of pinching in nature for people.
Mm. I wonder. Then it's back to our introvert extrovert thing. I wonder if introverts
Exactly.
will have an easier time to adjust, right? Versus the
Look,
extroverts.
exactly. True, true, true. Because like I thought this was a very positive change. I built
Yeah.
my, my YouTube career around it. I tried to like I built my gym. Behind this green screen is my gym. So I built. I bought like 10 books. So I'm set for life.
Yeah,
I
I hear
know.
you.
So for a long time, I wasn't able to play Xbox. I actually, brought out my Xbox back, reconnected everything. I'm set.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I agree. Like as for me, it's like I can see, the things I can see positive. I know air in the world is getting better,
Correct.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Um,
True. Totally
air
true.
quality is getting better.
You will
Yeah.
laugh, but I always like after 1 week I go and check my air quality index and see in the green portion. I feel so happy.
Right. Right. I think that's definitely one plus side for humanity. I
Yeah.
think. But yeah, like you said, you look inward a little bit more, and it's like, and you are. I think people can get depressed, but that's the thing. It's like, are you a positive person or are you a negative person, right? And like to me, I'm always trying to be a positive person. And it's like, okay, now it's like, okay, I don't go to work, which means instead of driving to work, I have that time and I'm gonna start walking. I'm gonna start picking up running, for example, right?
Or coming to
I'm
my
gonna do
podcast
something
right
else.
now.
Or you're gonna do this, right? And as I said too, it's like now I'm home and I get to do other things too, right? And so, um, but yeah, I think it's yeah. So what I might want to do first thing after this thing is all over, I think it's really, I think I want to travel a little more. I want to, like I said, my wife being in China is one thing, and my parent and my other family in Indonesia and whatnot. So, or even just going out and just not having to worry about this, right? And
Like I had these plans to go on trek, on going on bike rides. There is a like very famous trail in India, Leh Ladakh trail for bike. I wanted to always like every person who has a Royal Enfield in India, like or a good bike, he always go to that trail.
mm,
Always. So that was in the list. So I always wanted to visit Japan. That is not, a
oh
no-no
yeah,
right now.
yeah.
So,
Actually, in the U.S., bikes, it's hard to find bikes in the U.S.
yeah,
It's just like,
I've
uh,
seen few in Florida,
yeah.
but not in like Sacramento or.
Yeah. No, no, I'm just saying basically kind of like in the US in the earlier in the pandemic, people are running out of canned foods and toilet paper and stuff like that. Now that it's starting to open up, people are running out of bikes. You can't find bikes in the stores anymore because people are trying to, because they're trying, now they're focused, they've been in the house for so long, they want to do more outdoor stuff, right?
Ah,
And so, buying a bike is a perfect way to just enjoy nature, right?
correct,
And
correct.
so, yeah, so I was reading an article earlier today. I was like, there's a trail that is like overrun by people last week. It's like, they're telling them don't come here anymore. So, but people it's like, oh, I want to go biking, I want to go hiking and stuff like that. And I guess in India they're not letting you do that, huh? But in the
I don't
US,
know.
I guess,
For me, it's like precaution for myself.
yeah, yeah.
Because you're going hiking, trekking, you're gonna take the bus, you're gonna take the like,
Oh,
you're
I
gonna
see,
meet the
I see.
people,
Right.
you're gonna sleep in a tent with people, right?
I
So
see. Yeah, you're thinking about biking and hiking in faraway places, right? And in the
yeah,
US, that's maybe because again, people usually have cars and things like that. They can load their bikes into their car and then they can go to the trail or they can drive to a hiking spot and stuff like that. But yeah, so
okay.
you're right.
Well, to me, it's also like if you go biking, also you're gonna have to like be somewhere where you have to like eat somewhere. So
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
still doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
sense to me. I
I
would
understand.
go and have like I only like to keep the bike running. I just went one round and came back.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But yeah, that's good.
So I guess Ching, like if you wanna have like other topics like want to discuss or something.
No, I can't think of anything right now, Kartik.
Yeah, same here. So like, Ching, like, let's like do a. We don't do advices, but if you wanna share something to the world, like, what is something you want to share?
Oh, no, I can't. Oh, I was thinking. To me, it's like I know for sure. I'm very surprised that you're doing this. This YouTube and podcasting. It's a pleasant surprise. I see, but it's not. It wasn't a stretch, to be honest, right? I think it's like you were into the Toastmasters, right? And I remember you even coming when you were in the U.S. for a business trip, going to one here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I yeah, I feel that this is a very, it's very close to what you're interested in, you know. And so I guess, as I said, not shocked. I guess it's pleasantly surprised. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Hopefully you can continue to find more guests, and well, I can be a guest again if you want.
Yeah, yeah,
We can pick
sure.
on something else,
Yeah, yeah,
and
sure.
yeah, and
No, I
yeah,
would love to have you again and
yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah. We can
Yeah,
have, yeah, we can talk about other things, but
yeah, sure.
yeah, I wish you all the best, and you
Thank you,
know,
man.
success.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like and to me, I want to explore every dimension of life. Okay, so
Right.
basically, like I have always like I've done coding from fourth class, so I had nothing else. Okay,
Mm.
then I started writing in college. There's a one dimension I read. So then I joined Toastmasters, and then I got that one dimension opened up. So I feel like I'm leaping from the logical side to creative side to just
Mm.
make a complete circle. So I'm not
Sure.
gonna keep the logical side away. I do read the algorithm books still now. Okay, I love coding and I gonna continue on that. But I just
Right.
wanna balance it out. Like the whole podcast was like something about like balancing stuff. So
Right.
now what I'm trying to do is like balance the creative side, where I was
Right.
lacking.
Right. Right.
That's all. That's my
Right.
simple goal right now.
Right. Do what makes you happy, right? Um, and don't overthink it, right? And I guess it's like that's it. It's like this thing is like you always want to keep yourself busy, right? And finding a hobby. And now that life has presented us with more free time,
Exactly.
instead
The
of feeling
opportunity.
depressed, why don't you do something about it, right? And I'm, like I said, I'm picking up a programming language, and I'm trying to pick up my Chinese, and just find time to do other things
True,
that
true.
makes you happy, right?
No,
And so
no,
if this makes you, I can tell you are motivated to do it. So that's
yeah.
good.
Just give you a small story on that. So
Mm,
what happened? There was like a guy who was in the Wall Street. So he called his assistant over like for some drinks, and then he started like on the drinks also he started working on it. Okay, he was like working, still working. So the assistant said like, you have spent a major amount of time in the Wall Street. I know for a fact that you can support, some other passion. Okay, so why don't you just leave the Wall Street and go somewhere else? And what he said that I know only this, and I don't know what else to do.
yeah, that's, you're too narrow-minded then, right? There's
Yeah,
always something.
yeah, but he hasn't explored that dimension, right? If he is
Yeah.
so focused on the job, like he only like I've seen people who just know this only. If you know only this, okay, then after like even after retirement, you gonna can't keep on like doing after retirement as well, right? Sometimes gonna stop sometimes, right? Or maybe the technology goes away. What then?
Right, right. Yeah, I think again, there has to be a difference between what you do professionally and what you do outside, And if they combine together, that's great. But
Yeah,
sometimes it's
exactly.
not. It doesn't have to be that way. So when I hear you say like, I don't know what else to do, maybe he's talking specifically about work, right? But
Yeah,
I doubt it's like it's like you can always try to find something else to do,
if
right?
you try,
And you
but
won't be good at it, maybe, but
exactly,
it's
but
okay.
a lot of people don't have the guts to go
Yeah,
for it.
that's
For example, like if somebody is a guy who thinks about like he has a small dream. For example, like after retirement he's gonna open a restaurant. Okay,
right.
it's a very simple dream. Okay, after retirement, or he has first he is applying himself, and then he gets the money and then opens the restaurant. Okay, the dream fulfilled. Okay, but if he doesn't have a dream, what
Yes.
propels you? You just now is in a cage. No,
Right.
it's not something propels you, but it's now is in prison.
Right. I guess. And then I'm gonna go back to goals, right? Why?
Exactly.
It's like, okay, now I don't have this. What is? You just have to come up with another reason
So
potentially,
what's
right?
the driving force? Why you started on this? You
Right,
know,
right.
and people don't ask the question. You know why?
Yes.
And then they know they just go with the flow.
Yep, yep.
So Chingal
Good.
also like we made a full circle to the goals and so it ended on a positive note. I really thank you for coming on the podcast. It really means a lot to me. Okay.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So definitely we're gonna catch you again, and the best part is that we have like podcasting available in a lot of formats. Like we have in iTunes, we have you can also listen to Android devices. I will put a lot of descriptions. I'm also like I've also applied to like a lot other podcasts where you can
Hmm.
showcase your podcast. I've applied to them and they will be approved. It is in the process and I will put all the links in the description. So,
Interesting.
check them out and listen wherever you want to, but whatever your best provider is, just go and listen to this podcast.
Very
Thank
good.
you very much listening. See you in the next
All right.
podcast.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.